Welcome to my dear student. Today I will take class about human digestion system and digestion process. Hope you will get clear idea about human digestion process and different kinds of digestive juice and digestive system. After watching this class, if you want to ask me any question regarding about these topics, please write down on comments box. I will try to give your answer as soon as possible. Welcome again. Well, my dear student, today I am going to describe about digestion of food. First of all, I will describe what is the meaning of digestion, or what do you mean by digestion. Digestion is the biochemical process of making food absorbable by dissolving it and breaking it down into simple chemical compounds that occurs in the animal body, chiefly through the action of enzymes secreted into the alimentary canal with the influence of some specific hormones. Humans are omnivorous in nature. Their food includes proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Among these vitamins, minerals, and waters do not need any digestion because they are absorbed directly by the wall of intestine. However, protein, carbohydrate, and lipids are very complex and subject to digestion. Most of the food that man intake are cooked food because human digestive system unable to digest raw or uncooked food. In healthy adult person, digestion process can take between 24 to 70 hours. Food digestion physiology varies between individual and upon other factors such as the characteristics of food and size of the meal. Digestion mechanism of different food may involves following 6 steps such as movement of food and liquid materials, mixture of food with the different secretions, mechanical and chemical processing protein, lipid, and carbohydrates, reabsorbing of different liquids, especially water, nutritional products such as vitamin K and biotin production from symbiotic bacteria, and and removing waste materials is a factor for digestion. So now I am going to describe about the digestion in mouth. 3 types of salivary glands present in the human buccal cavity. These are the parotid glands, submandibular glands, and sublingual glands. Secretions of these glands is called saliva, and adult secretes 12,000 to 15,000 milliliter saliva per day. Saliva is slightly acidic in nature. In mouth, food is masticated well and mixed with saliva. This is called mechanical digestion. It is then compressed into bile, which are the pushed downward into the esophagus through the pharynx. The enzyme salivary amylase or ptyalin hydrolyze the compound of carbohydrate into maltose. Few maltose then break down into glucose by the salivary maltase enzyme. There is no proteolytic enzyme in mouth, so no digestion occurs here. Also there has no lipolytic enzyme in mouth, so no digestion occurs in lipid in mouth. So digestion in stomach, now I am going to describe. When the food enters into the stomach from the esophagus, the peristaltic movement pass over the stomach every 15 to 25 seconds. The movements mixes the food with the gastric juice, softening the food mass and reducing it to a thin liquid called chyme. The hydrochloric acid of gastric juice kills bacteria, dissolves mineral salt, decalcifies bones and provides an acidic medium for the digestion. The food progresses through the stomach from the fundus to the body, where the mixing waves become stronger and even stronger as the food reaches the pylorus. Most of the food is forced back into the body of the stomach, where further chemical digestion takes place. This continuous forward and backward movement of the stomach contents results in a thorough mixing of the food with the secretions of the gastric glands. There is no amylolytic enzymes in stomach or gastric juice, so no digestion occurs for carbohydrate digestion. The food becomes acidic mixing with hydrochloric acid. But the main chemical activity of stomach is begin to the digestion of proteins. Gastrin, a hormone produced by the stomach, stimulates the secretion of gastric juice, primarily hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid activates the production of pepsinogen and prorenin, which in turn becomes pepsin and renin respectively. Pepsin and renin start a chemical breakdown of protein in the following way, like protein to polypeptide. There has you can say most of the writer mentioned there is no lipolytic enzyme or lipase enzyme in stomach or gastric juice, so no digestion occurs here. The food becomes acidic mixing with hydrochloric acid. The partially digested food become an acidic chyme and passed downwards gradually to the small intestine. So now I am going to describe about digestion of small intestine. Okay, so digestion of small intestine. Mechanical digestion and chemical digestion take place in the small intestine. In fact, the major part of digestion and absorption occurs in the small intestine. The two main mechanical digestion process which take places in small intestine are segmentation and peristalsis. Segmentation is a forward and backward movement of food within a particular segment of the small intestine. The food is not being moved forward, but it is being thoroughly mixed with the digestive juice and intestinal mucosa. Peristalsis, the second mechanical process, propels the chyme onward through the intestinal tract. Chyme remains in the small intestine for from 3 to 5 hours because chyme moves through this organ at a slow rate of 1 centimeter per minute. The chyme which enters the small intestine is made up partially digested carbohydrate.
partially digestive proteins and largely undigestible lipid. The acidity of food stimulates the mucosa of duodenum to secrete the hormones secretin, cholecystokinin and enterokinin. The first two activates the pancreas to secrete pancreatic juice, and the third cause the gallbladder to eject bile into the intestine. Enterokinin stimulates the intestine to secrete its own intestinal juice. In the duodenum of small intestine, food mixes with the bile, pancreatic juice and intestinal juice. Thus, in the duodenum, the food is automatically act upon by bile, the pancreatic and intestinal juice. So in duodenum, amyloitic enzymes present in the pancreatic and intestinal juice hydrolyzes the carbohydrate into the glucose. So amylase enzyme react upon the starch and produce glucose. In ileum, amyloitic enzyme presence in the intestinal juice hydrolyzes all the disaccharides like maltose, sucrose, lactose, etc. Pancreatic juice contains proteolytic enzyme of trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, tripeptidase, dipeptidase, collagenase enzymes, etc. These act on different partly digestive proteins like the polypeptide to amino acid or simple peptide. In case of lipid, intestinal juice contain the proteolytic enzyme erepsin, which hydrolyzes dipeptides into amino acid. Lipid digestion totally depends on the bile secretion. Bile is devoid of enzyme. It contains bile pigment and two bile salts, sodium tarcholate and sodium glycolate. The bile salt helps in breaking down lipid droplets into small globules, forming a milky emulsion to facilitate further digestion of fats. Pancreatic juice contains lipolytic enzyme like lipase, phospholipase and cholesterol esterase. They act on the different emulsified lipids as in the following ways, like fats to fatty acid and glycerol. Here fatty acid and glycerol, amino acid and simple peptide, glucose, these are the simple food. So absorption in the passage of the fine food substances through the intestinal mucosa of the villi into the blood or lymph. Food absorption is a complex process. Most of the digested foods, vitamins and minerals and waters absorbed in the lumen of the small intestine by diffusion or endocytosis mechanism. Actually 90% of nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine. The other 10% of absorption takes place in the stomach and the large intestine. Absorption process controlled by different hormones. Absorption process of different food is happen in a different way. So you will get more idea about the absorption of small intestine in a higher class. So that all about different kinds of complex food digestion process already I have discussed. Hope you have understood today's lecture. After watching this class, if you have any questions, please write down on comments box. I will try to give your answer as early as possible. No more today. Hope in the next class I will describe another new topics which I have mentioned in a group, and you can take preparation before joining this class at your home, which may help to you understand my lecture at a very easy way. Thank you so much for watching this class.